Hello everyone. About a year or two ago, I made a video showing my 3D printed customs, and those I was able to print at my school because they had a 3D printer over there. But then I stopped going to that school, so I no longer had access to 3D printing until I managed to get my own 3D printer. And since then, I've been printing and well, just a lot of stuff. And that's what I want to show now. I ran out of my first batch of filament that stuff you 3D print with. So I thought that now would be a good time to make an update to my 3D printed Thomas collection. So without any further ado, I suppose we'll start with some of the first ones I've printed. And those are the coffee pots. Now, I've already printed Glenn before, you have seen him already. He's that design that uses a cargo car as a chassis. But I had two more cargo cars, so I decided that Flynn needed some friends. So here are Lydia and Arnold, coffee pots numbers 2 and 3. They both use the same design as Glyn, and that's because it's just what I'm used to. I know that we recently got some lore about which type of coffee pots there were in the early series. But I'm just used to all of the coffee pots being like Glyn, so that's what I'm going to use in my AU. So Arnold and Lydia, I haven't really properly planned out their roles, their personalities and everything. Mostly all I have for them is that they are chill like Glyn. That's about it. I think they are the first two normal OCs I've made for my series. Everyone else is insane. And yeah, the colors have been determined by the color of the cargo cars that I have. And I would like to make coffee pot number 4, but that's going to have to wait until I get a 4th cargo car. So yeah, I think that's about everything about these three. Next, I got this chassis. This isn't a 3D printed piece, but I found this chassis of James without the James. And I thought that this would be really useful for 3D printing customs because, well, it's a brand new chassis. So that's what I did. So here is my custom Wilbert. He can be put on the chassis and he actually holds there pretty nicely, which is good. I'm not super satisfied with him. I would like to give him a darker shade of blue, and I think I made his saddle tank a little bit too small. But those aren't big problems. I think he looks fine. I am pretty happy with how he turned out. He just could have been a little bit better. And when I make Wilbert, I of course had to make 16. So yeah, I only have one of these chassis, so they can't be next to each other at the same time. But yeah, that's actually the reason why I made it so that the engines can be removed from the chassis. So not Glyn, 16. I don't know why I said Glyn. 16 uses the same design as Wilbert, of course, and that's about everything I really have to say about him. I accidentally messed up his numbers, they are not lined up with each other. Yeah, that's about everything. But that's still not everything that uses this chassis. I also made Frankie, and yeah, I am really satisfied with her. She looks a lot like an official product, so that's amazing. Yeah, here she is from all sides, and actually, here she is with my custom Hurricane. He's just that barrel engine with a face, nothing fancy, but they look nice next to each other. And the last custom I made for this chassis is wooden railway scale Stefano the Super Cruiser. Snap, snap! So yeah, you may have noticed that I am a big fan of Stefano the Super Cruiser, maybe even his biggest one on the planet. I hope that's the case, but that means I needed more Stefano toys, but it turns out they haven't made many Stefano toys. I have no idea why, he's such a good character. But so I have to make my own, and yeah, here is Stefano if he was a wooden train. Isn't that just awesome? And actually, fun fact, that's not the only wooden railway Stefano custom I made. I also made this, similar design as the coffee pots. He uses a cargo car as a chassis, but it's Stefano. Yeah. I don't know why I made two. I just saw an opportunity, I guess. The next custom I'm going to show is, well, I'm going to, oh yeah, this is a good one. Stafford. He uses Rocky's front car as a chassis, but he could also use the flatbed from the breakdown chain. And yeah, I don't really care for Stafford. In fact, he's one of my least favorite characters. Screw you, Stafford, I don't like you. I could go on a whole rant about how much I'm disappointed with Stafford, but that's not relevant right now. I made this custom because, yeah, I know there's a wooden airway Stafford, but I just don't think it's going to be a model I'm going to get anytime soon. And I would like to have some more Nefert Shunters, so I made him. His face has a very complicated shape, I have to say. And there's another character who uses one of Rocky's cars as a chassis, and that's Ivo's Flying Bedstead, also known as Mark V. Yeah, there's again not much I have to say about him. I give him some interior detail with this window. I should probably give him more, but I think this is good enough, I guess. Very nice model, I like him. Okay, next, you know what? I'm going to be nice. I'm going to show Thomas the elephant next. I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the last video. I'm not sure. I made a Thomas the elephant custom before out of clay, but he started falling apart, so 3D printing was my next option, and good luck because I just got a 3D printer. So yeah, this is an elephant model I downloaded somewhere and then modified. Most notably, I gave him a Thomas face. Yeah, very cursed, but I recommend that you make him too because he's such a cool addition to anyone's collection. Okay, the next custom I'm going to show is Bill and Ben. Well, or rather, they're buffer beams. I gave Bill and Ben 3D printed buffer beams so that they would look a little bit more accurate. I also gave them number plates, but that's made out of clay. That has nothing to do with 3D printing. And yeah, I'm very happy with this. They look a lot nicer than before. I also gave Ben silver buffers because in my AU he kept them after that season 6 episode. And oh, whoops, I didn't give Ben silver buffers on the back. Well, I'm not actually sure if he had them on the back. Well, whatever. I also gave them some more details on the back. They look a lot nicer now, but these buffers aren't 3D printed. Next, I'm going to show Fergus. He also has some 3D printed buffers, and I have to say he looks so much nicer with them. If you have a 3D printer, go check the link in my description, and there should be a file for Fergus's buffers because they just improve him so much. He looks a lot more like the perp now. So yeah. I also made buffers, or maybe I should say buffer beams, for Billy and Charlie. Fun fact, even though they are the same engine, or at least similar because they have some differences, but I think that's just imperfections with the models, Billy actually doesn't have this type of buffer beam at the back. I don't know why, but yeah, I decided to be accurate and only gave the twin buffer beams to Charlie. Very small change, but again, I think it improves them a lot. Also, I gave them some nice back detail and it's so pretty, I have to say. And the final two buffer beams are for Den and Dart. Den is a custom. I'm not sure if I showed him off yet, maybe in a short. But yeah, I gave him these buffer beams even with these lamps. And they finished the custom a lot. And I also did the same thing to Dart. And then also got these side thingies. The original engine didn't have them, so I had to 3D print them, and I'd say I did a pretty good job with that. Okay, next I think I'm going to show some faces I did for a couple checks. Well, actually I haven't made them, I just printed them. These were all, I think they are all face scans that I downloaded from someone. Unfortunately, I don't remember who it was, but If you know who has an archive of track faces, let me know, and I'm going to link them in the description or something. I don't know. But yeah, the first track is this one with the Cole. He has the typical laughing face. Then I made this tanker with a face, and I like him a lot. I call him Hyundai. I don't even know why. And finally, I gave a face to this Blue Mountain Quarry car. And this is something that I recommend everyone with a 3D printer does, because tracks with faces are a lot more fun than tracks without them. Am I right? The next thing I have is this, the Works in It coach, which is actually this subway car, upper arc subway car to be more specific, with this shell that can be put around it. And the reason I made the Works in It out of this track specifically, or sorry, this car, is because of its magnets. Have a look at this. Yeah. Can you see that this is perfect for the Works in It coach? And I also made a CGI version. Hold on. There we go, that's very nice. I'm not going to show it with Donald and Douglas or Splatter and Dodge because I just couldn't be bothered to. And I made one last version of this. And this is meant to resemble Pip and Emma's coaches because, as you know, they also travel like this back to back. So yeah, it's nice that they can have a coach that resembles them and their array of coaches that can be put in the middle of them so that they can be like this. The next custom I'm going to show is going to be something similar. Here is my 3D printed bear. I am very happy with him. At the back he has 2W23. I forgot exactly what it means. I think 23 is a reference to Enterprising Engines, which I think is the 23rd book. But I don't know what 2W means. But yeah, this is my custom bear. Nothing much else to say about him. Here is scaled next to a regular engine. He's a little bit squashed, but I think it's still good enough. But unfortunately, I think this custom isn't the perfect option because it's kind of hard to remove the shell from the coach. I put it on. Wait, I'm actually struggling to remove it. Oh, yeah. Recently I found a wooden engine that resembles Bear's bases, so I think I'm going to buy that. And wait, I'm going to have to pause this video because I'm not going to struggle 5 minutes while you... Yeah, there we go. It was a bit of a struggle, but you can definitely see why I want to replace this. But it's a shame because before I realized that I had trouble removing these from this coach, I printed several more, most notably Railway Series Annie and Clarabelle, who are now kind of useless. I think I have an easier time removing these. Yeah, this is a lot easier to remove. But it's still not flawless. I made them too tight. I'm not going to show these next to each other, but I am hoping to soon release a video where you can see these two in action. But these aren't the only ones I made like this. I also started work on customs of Boko and his evil twin D5701, but I don't want to finish them now that I probably can't really use them well. Yeah, and this isn't even all. I made 3 more of these things. I was going to make Catherine and Gertrude and Millicent, or maybe someone else, I haven't decided yet. But now this is all useless. So yeah, check your measurements before you print a bunch of models like this. Okay. Anyway, next on the list is something that might be a bit of a spoiler, but I think I'm just going to show it right now. Thomas the coach. Thomas the tank engine if he was rebuilt into a coach. Why did I make this? Well, you might see soon. Okay, this is interesting. Lady with a superhero mask. I think this is called a domino mask, but I'm not sure. It's inspired by the masks that Jean Grey and Mockingbird from Marvel Comics wear. And the reason I made this is because I have a AU where the engines are superheroes, and Lady is one of them. Her superhero name is Hex, and that's about everything I can say right now. I'm very happy with this mask because it fits really nicely on her, and you need to do quite a bit of shaking before it falls off, so it's going to stay there in most situations, so that's great. Now I'm going to move to some diecast customs. The first one is a bit of a failure, I have to admit, but every failure is an opportunity to learn from your mistakes. This is Adventures Hugo converted to a TWR engine. Yeah, it's kind of ugly, I have to say. He's also too big. He's not going to fit in most tunnels and under most bridges. He doesn't have magnets, but Hugo shouldn't be able to connect to coaches and such, so this isn't a big deal. And yeah, I just thought that since Wooden Airway Hugo is kind of rare, I better use the Adventures version like this. And I guess I could use it if I desperately needed a Hugo, but I don't think I'm going to desperately need Hugo ever. I also made this thing for a Raoul, but I haven't painted it yet. And also his wheels are too wide, and that's because I accidentally used Checkmaster wheels. Yeah, I should probably also paint this if I decide to use it, but for now this is basically just a prototype that I might get back to and maybe also not. But I have some proper diecast customs. The first is the truck from the Cody Railway. I also have Cody's, so I'm going to put them behind. So yeah, this uses the take-along flatbed from the breakdown train as a chassis, and it's held in place with these things around the magnet. And yeah, this is the truck, and it's also capable of holding some cargo. This is the coal load that came from the Adventures Troublesome truck, but he can also hold this. This is also from Adventures, and even this thing from Bayo. So yeah, that's awesome. And this isn't the only custom I made for this flatbed. I also made Catherine, and I suppose I should also show them with my Turtle Lord Harry. Yeah, they're really nice. Yeah, I know that the flatbed is the wrong color here, but nothing I can really do about that. And the last custom I have in this style is Sigrid of Arsdale. Yeah, the reason I made Sigrid and all these things in the diecast instead of Wooden Airway is because that's the range I plan to use for these gauges. Another custom I have that's also related to the Arsdale Railway is Bert in his rebuilt condition. So the regular Take and Play Bert looks like this. He's based on how he looks in the TV series, which is based on his original condition in the Railway series. But as some of you may know, he was rebuilt and now he kind of resembles Jock. And I really like that rebuild, so I made this cab piece, which you can slide on top of his existing cab. And there you go, now you have Bert that resembles his rebuilt condition. I also made this funnel, because he also has a taller funnel now, but unfortunately this part doesn't work as well as I hoped it would. It's too thick and it doesn't like to stay in place, so that's a shame, but well, nothing I can really do about that. The next thing I have to show is, well, I suppose I have another Wooden Airway thing I forgot to show. It's not exactly Wooden Airway, but I printed some, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, there we go. I printed a Gordon face, which I could put on my Shooting Star custom. Oh, I haven't glued it yet because I'm not sure if I'm satisfied with the result. I also made a smaller version, if I can just... yeah, there we go. I made a smaller version because I wasn't sure which one was better. But because I'm not the most satisfied with them, I decided to just keep my Shooting Star custom as he is. Next, I also have this thing. I believe this was designed by the Auto Tank Engine, and it's basically a replica of those Wooden Airway cargo bins which you can put cargo in. I don't have a piece of cargo with me right now, so I'm just going to use the coffee pots because they are the same size. So yeah, you can put those cargo boxes in this, and it's a really nice addition to layouts. Okay, now I think it's time to move to some checks. So first I have these Adventures buffers. I didn't make these, I just downloaded it from somewhere. And yeah, actually most of what I'm about to show you right now is just downloaded from somewhere. I also painted a second set of buffers and I kept those unpainted. This one is green because I want to put it on the ballast chute. Then I downloaded and painted some adapters. The first are from Adventures to Take and Play, and the second is from Take and Play to Wooden Airway. And this is so that I could maybe connect the Adventures RSL Airway to my Wooden Airway layout if I ever want it. Not that I would really want, but you know, who knows, maybe it will be necessary someday. Then I painted this crossing, very nice. I already used it on a layout, I think, and it was really helpful. It's also not the only crossing I painted. I also downloaded this thing. Bit of an unusual shape, but it was useful. Well, actually, no, I think I haven't used this yet. Same with this. I don't think it's been used yet, but again, definitely going to be helpful in the future. This I already used, and yeah, it was useful. And I also like the bare bones look of this thing. It also makes it cheaper to paint, which is very appreciated. Then I painted this very interesting switch, and yeah, again, it was very helpful when I used it on my last layout. You can see that both of the lines go left, but this one has a gradual 45-degree angle, and this track has a sharp 90-degree angle. Then I also painted this. Again, very helpful because I used it already, so I would know. Then I painted some road switches. These were designed by the Auto Tank Engine, but unfortunately they don't really work as well. They don't like to connect to the road pieces and such, so yeah, I think I might have to replace them. I also painted this thing to replace those male connectors that tend to fall off. I haven't glued it yet, but I'm going to eventually, probably. Then I have this Wooden Airway to Tomy adapter. This is going to be useful now that I have some Tomy track. It also came with these Tomy male-to-male dog bones. I haven't had an opportunity to use these yet, but who knows, maybe I'll have a use for them sometime. Then I have this Tomy to Trackmaster 2 incomplete adapter. It's incomplete because I ran out of filament while it was being finished. So I had to give it these walls so that the engines wouldn't derail on it all the time. But it didn't really work, unfortunately. And then I have these things, and these are meant to be put on the Wooden Airway Deluxe crossing. It's basically a thing that can convert, it's an adapter between Wooden Airway Road Track and the Wooden Airway Deluxe crossing, because I wasn't really a fan of how it couldn't be connected to TWR's road system. There's nothing that holds it in place, unfortunately, at the crossing, so yeah, it's not the best, but I just didn't really know how I would do that. Oh, and I almost forgot one thing. This Adventure Station, again, it's downloaded from somewhere, and yeah, I really like that there's a little bit more stuff going on at the Adventures line, because previously there was just nothing really. Yeah, I'm very thankful to the person that made this, but unfortunately I don't remember their name. The next thing I have is some cargo load for Hector. I didn't really like how he had to constantly be empty, so I made this thing. Yeah, it's basically so that he's carrying some coal or ballast or whatever. Maybe I should paint it black, but I fear that it may then blend in with Hector too well, so I'm going to keep it gray. I also did a similar thing for the Blue Mountain Quarry check from Checkmaster. It's a single load, it's not two separate loads like you're used with Checkmaster, and yeah, the check looks a lot nicer now, and of course it also works with the Tomy checks because they are the same thing. And finally I did this to the push along minecart. It doesn't like to sit evenly in this, so I have to have it there like this, but I can live with that. Then I also have this lock. It's just, it's just a lock. You can put it in Adventures checks, and you can also put it in Wooden Airway stuff, I just thought it would be nice to have a lock. This is also downloaded from somewhere. Next, Adventure Scale Stefano. I'm still planning to make more Stefanos. It's just a matter of time. Okay, I think we're soon about to finish. There's only a couple more stuff. These replacement couplings for Tomy. As you all know, the couplings from Tomy, they like to break sometimes, and when I got these two troublesome checks, they had them broken, so I fixed it with these guys. And then I have this Checkmaster Working Hard Diesel, the one with the save face variant, but unfortunately he doesn't work, which is a big shame. And I wanted him to still be able to be played with the Tomy engines, so I gave him a front coupling so that he could be pulled along by Thomas and the others. But the coupling wasn't really a big success. It can turn around and it's held in place here, but there's a pretty big problem with it. It can't go up and down, so on even the slightest hills, the engine gets stuck because its wheels are then pushed upwards and then it's just stuck. So yeah, this is a bit of a failure, but if your layout doesn't have any hills or bumps at all, it should work. But I also got these front couplings for Thomas and also for Percy. Percy needs them a lot because he also doesn't really work. Thomas doesn't need them, but I just thought it would be nice. And these were downloaded from Thingiverse. Again, I don't remember exactly who, but if you're interested, I can send you the link. And these work a lot better because they can actually go up and down. I think they still have some slight issues every once in a while, but I don't think it's anything major. And the way these work is that, yeah, you can put them on the buffers like this. But you can't put them on just any buffers you like, because not all buffers are the same. These are actually separate modes for Thomas and Percy, or rather separate files. So yeah, the downloading thing, it says which is for Thomas, which is for Percy, and there's also one for the Checkmaster to Thomas, but they don't have anything else, so yeah, you can't put these front couplings on James or Gordon or anyone else. It's a shame, but it is what it is. And I think that's about everything I made. Yeah, I can't remember anything else. The only thing I want to say is that I am still planning to make more 3D printed customs, And here's something that you're probably going to see in the next video. Next video with the 3D printed customs. This chassis, yeah, I can finally make Bogeyed models. I think I'm going to make D261 with this, and also the jet engine, maybe the crusher, we'll see. I'm sure this is going to be super useful. I'm not exactly sure how to connect them to the chassis in the best way, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. So yeah, that's about everything. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.